Let's go. Getting ready, about to go live. You know we always have a good time, so count it down, make some noise. Chat is open. If you're here, let us know. Start the cheering. Let's have fun and start connecting. Your worries soon you'll be forgetting, 'cause you are here with us now. We are all friends. Sit back and relax, we can begin. Ready or not, here we go. We're all here, so let's start the show. Streaming is a journey. With every step we're always learning. So come with us, let's support each other. We can do everything all together. Ready or not, here we go. We're all here, so let's start the show. There's no
Hello and welcome, everybody. We have Lala here, of course, in the middle of the night, and Janet is here. Hello, Janet. Nice to see you. And Anna. Hello. And yeah, so without much brimborium, I will try to get ready to get this party started. So. Christian Reddy built a successful YouTube channel. Launchpad Astronomy has over 200,000 subscribers, and the most popular video on the channel has 1.6 million views. So, how did the channel start and how did it get successful, and what are new challenges someone faces if it gets successful? All that we'll try to find out today with Christian Reddy. Hi, Christian. So nice to have you here.
Hey Marcus, how you doing? Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you here, and let's get right in.
I don't know what you're doing with me, man. I mean, I'm watching that intro and I'm seeing all these incredibly talented and brilliant, socially well-adjusted and really, really good-looking people as your guests, and now you have me. I'm very sorry
we
for
have
the death
to,
of the Marcus Schaub show. Yeah, we may have
maybe we have to work on the negative self-talk here a bit. But yeah, it's let's get right into it. So to find out why you became a content creator, I think we have go way back into your childhood where you found your passion. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. I mean, I've always wanted to be an astronomer since I was a little kid. I mean, I was watching reruns of Star Trek, the original series, mind you, the really, really good one. And the Next Generation was also very good too. And Deep Space Nine, I loved it. After that, it kind of went downhill. But anyway, was a born and bred Trekkie, and I've always loved the idea of understanding how the universe works. And I also was early on introduced to an opportunity to kind of share with others how the universe works. I was working at an observatory when I was 13 years old, and we used to have public telescope viewing nights, and I would show people through the telescope, and I just really just fell in love with the idea of just talking about this stuff. So when I was lucky enough to become at the time a part-time professor or an adjunct professor, I had a number of students who said, "Hey, Professor Reddy, your lectures are kind of hard to follow. There's a lot of information there. Is there any chance you could maybe put them online somewhere? Could you record your lectures so we can go back and watch them later?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I mean, I know I'm teaching a lot of stuff that's far outside of our everyday experience. Why not write them, video them, record them, put them up somewhere?" And I was trying to think where I was going to put them. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I have a YouTube account. I've had it since like 2007. So I started publishing those recordings of my lectures, and I told my students where to go find them, and they immediately didn't watch a single one of them. They were too busy, and they said, "Oh, I didn't get a chance to watch your recordings." I'm like, "Well, great." And then people who were not my students were watching them, and they were commenting on them, and then I thought, well, what if I tried to make videos for them, the non-students, and things just kind of went from there. So it's been quite a trip ever since.
Yes, fascinating. So your fascination with the universe, and also the passion to tell others about the universe, was what drove you to be a professor. And then those students, they said they want to see it, but of course once you gave it to them, they weren't interested. But they
didn't watch it. Yeah.
But nevertheless, it was really a good step for you, because it was somehow accidental even that you ended up on YouTube then.
A little bit accidental, yeah. Exactly. I mean, talking before audiences and whether it was teaching or whether it was public speaking was something I always enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
But doing it through YouTube, yeah, that was a fluke. You know,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
didn't see that one coming. You know,
And
and
a
here
very
I am.
lucky
So
fluke. that
yeah,
Okay, so it started with getting some views and some comments, and then you said, okay, let's build on that, and you made
that's
more
right.
videos then, or
Made some more videos. This time I decided to go in front of the camera to, try to break up the monotony of just pure visuals and just tried experimenting with it. And I really do enjoy it. It's a lot of work.
yeah,
But it's also a lot of fun at the same time, as you know, and I think just about everybody here watching knows.
yeah,
We've all done content creation of one form or another, and it's one of those things where you put a great deal of work into it, and then
yeah.
uh, then you're like, I'll never do that again, and then you publish, and then you can't wait to do the next one, and
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
And so, okay, you optimized your videos because you knew it's not only for the students who didn't watch anyway, and thought,
right.
okay, what can I improve there? And then did the success build up gradually from there, or how did that go for you?
Gradually, indeed. Now, I'll tell you this. I've given you the very, very short version of my story, but without going into the long version of it, I can tell you that the idea of putting stuff out on YouTube was not something that just hit me over the head one night. It
Yeah,
was something that I had seen other people do, and I had decided that there was nothing I could possibly do to compete with them, for lack of a better phrase. They were all much better at it. They were all smarter than me. They were all better looking than me. They were all whatever than me. But I just figured, well, there's so many astronomy YouTube channels out there. Why would anybody want to watch mine? And then I just hit upon a webinar. I think it was by Think Media actually that did this, and they were just saying that, hey, just because the fact that there's more than one channel out there talking about whatever topic you like to talk about, that means that there's an audience for it. That means there are people who want to hear more about this, and they will actually want to hear what you have to say about that subject, even if other channels talk about the same subject. So that did go a long way towards me, making that jump from just recording a few lectures from my classes into making videos for everybody, and that was just like, a big light bulb moment for me, that, okay, there is an audience, and I'm not going to be the best out there, but I'm going to try my hardest, and
yeah.
that's how I approach it.
Yeah, and it's a typical thing. Like we hold ourselves back, and of course, if you're starting new, you can hardly be the best because no one was the best right from the get go. And so
That's right.
it's really good that you got that input and it made sense for you. And everyone who tries to put out content has a unique perspective, a unique personality, and there is the right audience for you, because maybe with your background you, for example, can explain things a lot better than another astronomy channel or whatever. Someone likes your nose, we don't know, but some people like us and some people don't, and that's our entry into the world of creation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Everybody's different.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, for how long did you are you already active on the channel?
Well, I really got active on my channel in the spring of 2018, and I was just trying out a few different things. Not really sure what I was doing at first. I only knew that I wanted to see if I could grow this, and because I understood that this could be uh, not just a fun hobby, but also as a way to earn a living at it. And so I was watching Nick Nimmin every Saturday morning,
Yeah.
where I live. It's Saturday morning, and I was watching him and just taking notes and just doing the best I could, and making just little changes, and really what I strove to do is just make one little change,
Yeah.
one little improvement with each and every video. Like, just, okay, it's one tiny thing and the phrase I heard was just make 1% increments. The next video doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be 1%
A
better
little
than
bit
the last
better. Yeah.
video. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so was it, maybe I changed something in the way I prepared for the video, maybe it was something I changed in the way I edited the video, maybe it was something I did in the thumbnail. I'm just trying to think, like, what can I do that's just a little bit better than the last time.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing is, you mentioned all these educational channels about YouTube, and my theory, and I'm pretty sure about it, is that they have many viewers who just consume that knowledge and thinking, okay, I will do that and I will do that, and they never ever publish something. And the big difference that makes you a winner is, yeah, you just really applied it and made something with it.
You have to do it, and you have to
Yeah,
recognize that you're going to do it wrong, and you keep doing it wrong
exactly.
until it gets less wrong, and then you do it a little less wrong the next time, and a little less wrong the next time, and
Yeah,
yeah, you go. Yeah. So,
yeah,
and I
and
think I think that can be said of a lot of things too. Like, I once heard that there's like some sort of like psychological effect, and I don't know what the name of it is, but like, reading about it or hearing about it, it feels like you've done it. You
yeah,
get that same dopamine hit or whatever, that you felt like you've accomplished something, but you really haven't.
yeah, that
So
makes
I
sense.
try to avoid that as much as I
Yeah,
can.
I had that experience where I read a whole book and I felt good about it, and I did none of the exercise in there. And then later, when I wanted to apply something, I realized I learned nothing, and so then it's just a waste of time. And so it's really good that you did something with it. And
Thank
then
you.
at which point did you get some traction where you were thinking, okay, this is really going somewhere?
I think it was once I well, okay, when I really started to get serious about making my channel a YouTube channel, like around the time I changed it from from Christian Ready to Launchpad Astronomy. It was I think I had like 135 subscribers, and that was after, oh, I don't know, what, 10 years or something, or a little over 12 years, I guess, of being on YouTube, in terms of since I started my account. But once I hit like the first few hundred subscribers, and I realized, wow, I think I'm on my way here. I think this is going to go someplace. And then it became 1,000 subscribers, and I started getting those little milestones. And at the time, I was very obsessed with subscriber counts. I guess everybody is. It's a little bit of a vanity uh, stat. But more than the subscribers, it was just great watching the views come in. It was great watching the comments come in. And I knew that things were really going to work once I got my first hate comments.
Yeah,
Once,
yeah.
once
Now you
people
really
were,
reach people. Yeah,
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 once people started hating
yeah,
and trashing me, I was like, bring it on,
yeah. It's
badge
like
of
a badge
honor,
of honor. Exactly.
yeah, I was like, okay, I guess I've made it. It's kind of a
Yeah,
cynical thing, but you kind of know, like, at that point, like, okay, if people are hate watching your videos, you just got to take that negative and just turn that into a positive and be like, cool, people are watching your videos. That's fantastic.
yeah, and I think it really has validity. It's not only cynical because maybe you have built up more personality and more things for people to don't like, but in the same time, that is exactly what you need to have for people to like it. And as long as you're staying there right in the safe middle and being average with everything, why should somebody watch? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not out to make people upset in any way. I'm
Yeah,
really out to share, the universe. How people choose to react to that is up to them, and it's never up to me to make everybody feel happy. But I don't try to hew to the middle either. I try to where I'm going with it, I'm not an opinion channel or like that.
Yeah.
To me, my value proposition is, hey, I'm going to really try to break this down and get to get to the facts of the matter, especially if I'm talking about some sort of research outcome or something like that. Like I'm trying to make sure that I really understand the science that was done and how they arrived at a certain conclusion or a certain result, and tell that story. Because that's really what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to tell the story of science as much as anything else.
Yeah.
So it's about getting it right, but it's also but it's not about how this makes people feel. At least I'm fortunate in that sense that the universe doesn't care how we feel. It's up
Yeah,
to
it,
us to
it
make sense
shouldn't
of
be
it.
that controversial topic, the universe. Yeah, and exactly, the universe doesn't really care. I mean, it's so unimaginably vast. Yeah,
It's big, and um, you know, it does things. It throws curveballs at us,
yeah,
and it forces us to rethink how we understand it. And it's a darn good thing that it did, or else we would still be thinking that the Earth is flat and everything revolves around Earth, and the evidence just doesn't bear that out. So it's never up to the universe to make sense to us. It's up to us to make sense of it.
that makes absolutely sense. Yeah, and yeah, so and I think flat Earth is who cares about those people, but. But yeah, I think the reason we know that it's not flat is because we're, as human, are naturally really curious and want to learn things and experience new things. And
We've also gone up and looked down.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but still, that is because we're curious. Why would you go
Well,
up
sure,
if you're not
exactly.
interested?
Right.
Yeah. So I think that is the big driver to science, is we want to learn things. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too because I mean, we joke about flat earthers and so forth, but the fact is that part of my motivation for doing what I am doing is because that science has really kind of been under attack, and I don't like
Yeah.
to use that term too much because everybody likes to be a victim about something, right? But we've seen real assaults on
Yeah.
science. First to deny, first to deny the effects of smoking tobacco, then the causes of global warming and climate change, and more recently with the pandemic. So there's always like some group of people who are, for whatever reasons, usually it's money, they're trying to push back on science. They're trying to push back against the
Yeah.
experts as though it's a bunch of smarts who are just telling us what to think. And the way I'm trying to push back on that a little bit is by saying, no, it's not a bunch of smarts telling us what to think. It's, here's how we figured this out. Here's the story
Yeah.
of how we came to understand the universe. Yeah, like Callie was saying, right? They're just trying to rebel and so
Yeah.
forth. Yeah, exactly. There's some conspiracy out there that we're going to rebel against, and it's like, no, it's not that at all. It's this. The universe's story is our story. If we can understand it, we can understand ourselves better. Let's do this.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think the thing about conspiracy is it can be soothing because you can find an answer to everything. A wrong answer, but
Right.
still an answer. And
You don't have to think.
yeah, and that can be in a scary world and somehow scary universe. That can be so I can see where it comes from, but yeah. This show today, it's not about conspiracy.
No.
Yeah. So then there was a point where your channel really blew up. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. There were definitely a couple of points where things really started to go. I would say probably starting. Um, I guess really things really started to go when we were getting ready to get the James Webb Space Telescope ready for launch. This is a multi-billion-dollar spacecraft that was extremely complicated to build, very, very difficult to put together. And then, after years of delays, it was finally looking like it was getting ready to get ready for launch. And so I started making some videos about that, and people really seemed to take an interest in it, which kind of made sense. This would have been in the, let me think here. This would have been in the spring rather of 2021. Yeah, 2021, right? And I was talking about a potential delay due to a launch vehicle issue, and that just took off. And unfortunately, I think that kind of fueled people's conspiracy theory a little bit, like, oh, NASA's trying to push us back so they don't have to launch it, or some stupid other. But people were taking an interest in it, and then I made some follow-up videos as we were getting closer, as they were getting the spacecraft ready for launch, and views kept going up and kept going up. And then we had the launch, and I'm live streaming the launch, and I have, I don't know how many thousand people watching the launch with me, which was very exciting. And it was great to have guests from NASA and the European Space Agency on live on the show, and we were just talking and just overjoyed on that Christmas morning in 2021. And then the the great thing about the James Webb Space Telescope is that it took a long time to unfold itself and put itself into its proper configuration. So there was always something to talk about. Here's how
Always
this deployment's going, or here's a new story. And it was science, and it was hardware, and it was the best of humanity, working together to make this thing happen 1.5 million kilometers away, and so, yeah, I mean, I would say during that time, I saw, like, well, if you want to think about it in terms of subscriber count, I picked up over 100,000 subscribers in just that 6 or 8 month period, just because there was so much interest in it. So yeah, that was really just about talking about the right thing at the right time.
Yeah, but also being ready at that time. So you already had your channel, you knew how to do it and how to deliver it. And then comes this thing that will enlarge your potential user base who are interested by a lot. And you are ready, and then you just have to take the opportunity. And I guess that is key.
Exactly. I really, and honestly, that wasn't the first time I had seized on an opportunity like that. A few, from New Year's Eve to early in the morning of New Year's Day 2019, there was a spacecraft that was flying past the most distant object in the outer solar system. At the time, it was called Ultima Thule, and it's since been renamed to Arrokoth. But it's a leftover rock, or a leftover a snowball from the formation of the solar system. And at the time, it was the most distant object we ever flew past. So I thought, well, let's have a live stream. And since they were going to be operating it from down the road where I lived, I emailed them and I said, could I come down and do a live stream? And they said, sure.
Great.
And I did a 24-hour live stream, bringing in all these guests and so forth, and so I kind of had, that was sort of like my baptism of fire when it came to doing live streams, so
Absolutely.
So between some experience of doing live streams for covering that event and other live streams and just making videos, I think you make a good point, Marcus. I think I was a little bit better equipped to handle this sudden opportunity, which hopefully there's a lesson in there. Even if you are just practicing in the dark and you make videos and nobody watches them and so forth, that's fine. You're practicing, you're getting better at what you're doing, so that when the big moment does happen to land your way, or when the big topic does happen to work, you kind of know how to you're already there. I don't think anybody would have tuned in if I was trying to figure out how to make the camera work or something like that.
Yeah. But then the second point is you also have to really go for that opportunity, and that is maybe a point where also many would stop themselves. And so yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean
Have to run headlong into it.
yeah, and I mean these launches and these live coverages. Is anyone else doing that at the same time, or are you practically the place to go then?
I don't know. I think there were maybe a couple of things. There were a couple of channels doing it, but I just went. I like, certainly, for example, if you wanted to watch the launch of the James Webb Space Telescope, or even that flyby in 2019, you certainly could have gone to NASA's YouTube's channel to watch it. Right, you could watch the real thing, so to speak. But no, people seem to really just want to enjoy just hanging out with somebody, with an astronomer or a space enthusiast and so forth. And yeah, sure, I think there were a couple of other channels that did it, and did they do it better? Yeah, probably. But I sure
or
had
maybe
fun.
not.
Yeah.
I think
Or
you're.
maybe not. Or maybe not. Exactly. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think
I
you're
only know
way
what I did.
to belittle yourself too much.
Well, I mean, I'm talking
Yeah.
about like big channels with
Yeah,
like,
sure.
sure, they had tremendous resources. I'm just here in my basement live streaming it, but they may have done better, maybe they didn't. I don't know. All I know is I had fun, and my audience had
Yeah,
fun.
but that it's really interesting to me. So NASA did broadcast that too at the same time, and
Oh
so
yeah.
so you said, yeah, that's the real deal, of course, because they are the big NASA. They can do everything. So the question there is, why are people going to your channel? And maybe it's just they're very good in bringing things out into space, but maybe not so good in talking about it. Could that be part of it?
Yeah, you're right. It could be, I think there is something to be said about just the enthusiasm of you're watching along with the audience, like when Webb launched, I wasn't there in Kourou, French Guiana,
Yeah,
in the launch room. I was here, so it was like, hey, we're all watching this together, and it feels, I'm just speculating, but it feels a little bit more intimate. It feels a little bit more,
yeah,
uh, like there's an opportunity to kind of have a much less formal conversation. We can chat, we can hang out. I'm talking with astronomers from NASA who are themselves not directly affiliated with the mission. We're just talking about, like, man, can you believe what this is going to do
yeah.
when we try to study exoplanets and so forth. And that's something that I don't think you're going to get by watching like the official live stream, which, hey, not for nothing, they're doing a great job, which is fantastic. But there's
Yeah,
something
they're
to be said, I think,
providing
about like,
the image for you
well,
to show, so it's kind
yeah,
of
they're
important.
providing the
Yeah,
feed. I just
yeah,
carried the feed,
yeah,
and we're just talking
absolutely.
over the feed, and we're like, oh my god, look
Yeah,
at this, and we're just having fun, and it was a party, and we live streamed. That was launch day on Christmas Day 2021. We were just having a great big party for 5 hours, just had a hoot,
fantastic.
and it was a wonderful Christmas.
Yeah, and I think all the really big streamers with the most success, they are usually they're independent. So I think corporations or institutions like NASA, they are much too constrained and too settled to really go into that game. And I think you have to have personal stake and passion in it to really make that magic happen. And so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't have to watch what I said about
Yeah,
anything, or
exactly.
yeah.
But
Just had fun.
yeah, now you're doing a live stream and suddenly there are thousands and thousands of people and they're in the chat, and how is that on
The
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 other side?
Yeah, well, the chat was going crazy. I did luckily have some wonderful moderators who were helping to kind of keep everybody at bay. That was sort of like the big lesson learned. Uh, the that was like my big lesson learned from my first big live stream where I didn't have enough moderators, and of course people were on there doing all kinds of crazy things. So I knew from that New Year's live stream from 2 years earlier, I was like, okay,
Okay.
yeah, got to have some help here, you know, and so that was a big plus. Now, by this point, I had been watching Luria and live streaming pros and learning from them, and just taking all the lessons to heart and just putting all that together into that live stream. And I should also mention, by the way, it wasn't just that launch of web, but whenever NASA would live stream would broadcast a deployment of major deployment, I'd be on live streaming that, and so there were a lot of, every time, just like I said earlier about making videos, if you're trying to make each video a little bit better than the last one, you try to do the same thing with each live stream as well. Make each
Absolutely.
live stream just a little bit better.
Absolutely. And yeah. And then you did also very successful videos. So the biggest one has 1.6 million views.
Mm.
And I really love the thumbnail of that. It's in big letters. It's full of stars, and we see these
Yes.
amazing stars. And yeah, I can absolutely understand why people clicked on that. And yeah, can you
Yeah,
talk
that
about
that
that
was a
a
big
bit?
winner.
Yeah.
And that was yet another milestone in getting in the James Webb Space Telescope ready to do science. You have a telescope that has these 18 individual mirror segments, and that means when it launched, it was actually 18 separate little telescopes, and they all had to like come together and align to within, one like the equivalent of like 1/50,000th of a human hair, like that fine of alignment. And when that was done, and they finally had gotten the entire telescope completely focused, for lack of a better phrase, right? To get all 18 of those segments acting as one perfect mirror, that was just a mind-blowing moment. I mean, we'd all seen pictures of star fields before, but knowing that this was a picture created by a perfectly aligned telescope mirror that was now finally ready to start doing science just lent so much weight to the moment. And I had to make a video about it. I couldn't not make a video about it. And I made the video and I published it, and nothing happened. Got a few views here and there, and that was that. But then 2 weeks later or so, boom, it
Boom.
just went
Okay.
through the roof. It blew up. Yeah. So that's another weird thing about YouTube, and that sometimes it takes its recommendation algorithm a little bit of time to figure out who it's going to serve these
Absolutely.
videos out to, right? Even though I was a pretty well established channel by that point, it's still, and I made a lot of web videos, and still took its time. But once it found that audience, it was like, hey, what do you know? Web is in focus. Boom, and it's like, it was, yes, it was that happened 2 weeks ago. It was in all the papers. I mean, come on, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think right now we could feel your enthusiasm about that, and also the ability to really explain things like that, and that is just a perfect mix. And yeah, so
It is
that's
fun.
yeah, absolutely. But then you had this huge boost. You were successful, of course, before, but the whole web thing gave you a huge boost, and then naturally, um, those viewers who maybe normally don't even watch very much things on YouTube and just came for that, they tend to go away after a while, and so
Yes, I do.
I figured your numbers went down after that a bit.
Way down.
Way down,
Yes,
yeah,
that's right. Way down. Yep. You're right. I mean, the Webb telescope really captured the public's imagination, but
yeah,
then it stopped. And I'm not saying that's bad or whatever, that's perfectly understandable. Um, so yeah, the view counts went down. The subscription rate went down, but most importantly, the view counts went down,
Yeah,
the watch time went down, and I intellectually understood that that was going to happen. It's
sure.
it's hard to always keep that wave riding that high, but yeah, it got down. I'll be honest, it got a little bit depressing after a
Yeah,
while. I was like, I tried making a video, and I'm like, wow, this is bombing. What's going on here? But I mean, you have to just keep at it, and I'm not saying that I did. I was very inconsistent.
yeah, okay.
I've always been inconsistent because, well, I have a day job and I'm
Yeah,
I'm a college professor, and I shouldn't use that as my excuse, but that is my excuse for not making a video every single week. But yeah, it was just a certain, just like okay, just kind of like flatlined, and nothing was really seemed like nothing was going on, and try making a video, nothing happens, and then I really started getting active on making videos again, consistent or as consistently as I can. And the last couple of videos have started to do well again. And now are they doing as well as they did before? No,
yeah,
but they're doing better, and that's good.
absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
like okay, there's still an audience out there, and that's something that you have to take in stride. There's still an audience out there. People are still watching it. I'm very thankful to everyone who does, and I just I'm always trying to think about what's next. What's that next great idea going to be?
yeah. And the videos now, they're probably even still higher than before the whole web episode, I guess.
Maybe I haven't really gone
Okay,
that
yeah,
done that kind of
yeah,
analytics. I probably should, but yeah, I mean, you get used to a certain level of view counts, like to put out a Webb telescope video before
yeah,
launch and have it have 100,000 views before lunch, is just like wow, and then they don't have 100,000 views for like weeks, and you're like,
yeah.
or months, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's wrong?
Yeah, it is somehow becomes the new baseline.
Yeah,
And I think it's a really important thing to recognize. So, uh, if you're a new creator and not very much is going on, and sometimes you feel, oh, it's so hard. Once I have many viewers, everything will be so much better. But I think what you don't want to forget is if you have nothing, you have nothing to lose. And if you have gained all those viewers and the success, you constantly have to you can lose it everything every overnight, and yeah, it
yeah,
becomes more
but it's not
stressful
like
then.
it's not like I lose viewers. Yes, I know, but and yes, I lost some income, but I'm also it's not like I don't know what the word I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Well, it's not that like I've lost everything. It's
Yeah, sure.
far from it. I still have my passion. I still have my interest, and guess what? I still have an audience that seems interested in hearing about it. So it's still good to do, and that's okay because with each video, I try to make a little bit better and a little bit better, so
Yeah,
that when the next big event happens, I'm there to seize it again.
yeah. I didn't want to suppose to say that you lost everything, but I thought that's something that can come
No.
to our own mind. Oh, I could lose that. That was the point I was
Yeah.
trying to make. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to be afraid of success only to be afraid of not being successful anymore or something
yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
Gotta
but
take your ego out of it.
yeah, absolutely. No, and always keep that passion. But it's still very interesting what it does to you if yeah the numbers go down and
Mhm.
yeah. How did you deal with that? Or,
Oh, I dealt with it by being very depressed and
Okay.
and staying on the couch for no, I'm just kidding. Um, no, 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 no. Like I said, I was also very bit, like I said, I'm a college
Yeah,
professor, so I guess I was lucky in the sense that I had something else to
yeah,
keep hold my attention, but it was also a disadvantage because it was that much less time that I could spend working on the channel. So, no, it was really just about understanding for what it was. And I know it's easy to say it now, but I'm not gonna pretend that I wasn't bummed out about it. That it wasn't taking off like gangbusters anymore.
yeah.
But it was really just about thinking, okay, what can I do next? What's the next video that I want to make? What's the next story that I want to tell? Because I've got the whole universe to talk about. I don't have to talk
Should
about
be
just
plenty.
this
Yeah,
one particular
yeah.
telescope. What's let's think about the next story to talk about, the next topic to talk about, the next video to make, and make that video. And so that's what I ended up doing. Now, part of it for me is like recently, I caught some kind of virus. It wasn't coronavirus. It wasn't COVID-19. It was something else, and I pretty much spent the entire month of January on the couch. So I wasn't depressed. I was literally just sick and coughing and all that kind of stuff. So I couldn't make any
Okay.
videos. But once I was finally feeling well enough to make videos again, I already had a couple of video ideas lined up, and I started making them, and I did make them, and they've done pretty well. The other thing that I'm doing now to evolve on my channel is I recognize the fact that it's hard for me to sometimes create videos, and as creators we take great pride, tremendous pride, I think, in doing it ourselves, right? From conception to filming to
Yeah.
editing to publishing to designing the thumbnail, everything. And I can tell you, it's a wonderfully gratifying experience. You get to learn a lot. I got to learn an awful lot. I didn't know anything about cameras, lighting, microphones, sound, et cetera, et cetera. Self-taught, self-taught, go me. But I've also come to recognize that I'm not the best videographer in the world. I'm not the best editor in the world. I'm not the best audio technician in the world. And I'm certainly not the best writer in the world. Well, I kind of feel I have to write my stuff because I am the one making the video. But I'm now finally, after people telling me for years and years, or a couple of years, I now am letting another editor edit my latest video.
Yeah,
We'll
absolutely.
see how this goes. No, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm
Oh,
sure
okay.
there's
It's
going to
it's
be
the
an
first.
iteration.
It's not even out. It's really
It's
now
not
now
even out
starting.
yet.
Okay, okay,
It's not even out yet, but
okay.
I'm finally starting to let go a little bit and
Yeah,
say, okay, here's the story we're talking about. Here's the B-roll. Here's
yeah.
the video, etc. Let's see what you got. And
Mhm.
accepting the fact that there's going to be this huge adjustment. I'm going to probably get something back that I'm not going to be happy with, but I have to recognize that, hey, it's our first time. Oh yeah, thank you, Paul. Yeah, Smart Christian hand up to someone free. You're right, and that's why I'm doing this, because now while it's there, I'm actually scripting my next video. Right now, I would be editing my video,
Yeah,
but now I'm actually working on the next video, and I've never done that before. Filmed a video, sent it to someone else, and then work on another video,
yeah. Sounds
and that's
like
the
a really yeah.
whole wow, and
Yeah,
yeah,
because your strength is to tell us about the universe and yeah, and just
sure, right,
putting the thing
and
together. Someone else can, and I think it's really good to do it all yourself at the start. For one
yes,
thing, you have no money at the start, no income, so do it
that's right.
yourself. And the second thing is, once you do give it off, you have an idea what is this all about. But yeah, it's really, really smart to then load that off. Absolutely. And Paul
Brilliant.
wants to know, where did you find your editor?
Okay, so Paul, I found so I'm actually working with an organization called EZ Edits. EZ Edits, like letter E, letter Z Edits. So feel free to check them out. But I I can say that it's all about finding somebody who gets your style, and they don't have to necessarily mimic your style in the edit. I told them feel free to take some license and do it. They can undoubtedly do a better job than I could. So by all means, please do a better job than I would. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's who I'm working with right now. And then
Nice.
and then I'll probably work with someone else to design really good thumbnails.
Yeah.
And and maybe over here, maybe you could help me with the social media part of it, and getting the word out. Just
Yeah.
start. Maybe not building a full blown team, but just a little help here and there might
Yeah.
go a long way.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah. So somebody told me recently, um, you want to be in command, you don't have to be in control. You just have to, as long as you
That
know where,
sounds
as long as you know
like,
where you need to be. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and if you try to do everything yourself, then you can't really focus on where are you really the best and really good at, and make more of that. Absolutely.
By the way, Mommy Guide's comment there, I totally sympathize with you. The story, so much storytelling is in the edit, and I don't know if you're like me, but I don't know what's going to be in the edit until I edit, and I use a lot of B-roll, to kind of show the concepts. I'm a firm believer in showing, not telling,
Yeah.
so to kind of show the concept. So I often don't know exactly what's going to be there until I'm editing. It's a wondrously creative process. But at the same time, I know that there are people out there who can run circles around me because they're special kinds of people called editors. And
Yeah.
they understand this stuff better than I do. So yeah.
Yeah. So we will see when the next video of you goes up.
Yeah,
Then
we'll see.
whoever is listening to this now is in the knowing that this is the special first video where Christian did
Yeah.
some delegation.
Well, you have to experiment and you have to try things out.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you don't grow.
Yeah. And I think you really showed how to do that with all the development you took over the years. And yeah, really, especially I think with taking these opportunities that came along, I think that's one of the big secrets.
Well, one of the opportunities I took was coming on the show, so yeah.
Okay. I don't know how much that will contribute to the overall success.
Hey,
Okay.
look, the more you do these things,
Yeah.
the more opportunities come. Actually, there's a lot to be said about putting yourself out there and so forth. But it's so true though, because I just interviewed the video that's currently in production right now. Originated because one of the people who watch my channel works at the European Space Agency. He's down at the Guyana launch complex in Kourou, French Guiana. They're about to launch the most massive spacecraft ever to Jupiter, and it's going to fly around Jupiter's icy moons, and it's going to take these very high resolution detailed measurements of Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. And what do they all have in common? They're all covered in ice, and they all have hot interiors. That means that there's liquid oceans underneath their icy exteriors. So we've got a spacecraft that's about to go and make the most detailed remote measurements of these oceans, of these water worlds. Now, I knew that this mission was happening, and I was thinking, oh yeah, cool, I'm going to go ahead and make a video about that. Well, guess what? One of my channel viewers says, "Hi, I'm down here in Kourou. We've got the spacecraft getting ready to launch on April 13th. Would you like to talk with the project scientist?"
Yeah.
Yes,
That's so great.
I would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I would like to speak with the project scientist. Why, thank you very much. And so I Rather than me make a video telling you about this mission, I got the man himself, the chief scientist of this mission, to talk about it. So that's what you get when you throw yourself out there a little bit,
Absolutely.
when you try things out and let people see it and give you feedback.
Absolutely. Content creation, live streaming, and building communities always will lead to opportunities and to connections. And
Mhm.
if nothing else, then just to meet fantastic people. And
Yeah.
yeah, you just have to always have your eyes and ears open to not miss when something comes along. Yeah. Yeah, but I really want to see that video now. So it was already so. This was the
Me
trailer.
too. I want
Yeah,
me too. I want to see it now. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like I'm like, ooh, I know where I would put this bit of B-roll, but you know what?
Okay.
I'm gonna let the professionals
Yeah,
handle it. Let them handle it, and we'll revise it as we need to.
yeah,
But I think it'll be an enjoyable watch. I think it's gonna be a wonderful mission, and I hope people
yeah.
get excited about it.
So everybody go and subscribe to the channel. It's Launchpad Astronomy, and then you can get to see this video as soon as it comes out. Yeah, what else is next steps for your channel? Plans, new things?
Well, I one thing the main thing is like I said, it's streamlining the production process so
Yeah,
that I can eventually start to increase the frequency of videos because I have so many video ideas I want to make, so many things I want to talk about, but because I've had kind of like a relatively slow production pipeline, it's been difficult for me to put videos out. And I don't want to reduce the quality, but I definitely want to increase the quantity, if that makes sense, because there's so many
yeah,
different
sure.
things worth talking about. So that's my first order of business. Um, and then I think I would like to get back. I haven't done a live stream in a while, and I probably should do another, mix in a little bit more live streaming. It's been a long time since I've gone live, and I always enjoy doing that. So I think it's something I should definitely try out
Yeah,
at some
great.
point.
It's also
Try
a
again.
very good way to stay in touch with your community
It really is.
and your inner
After a
circle
swell
of
bunch of
fans.
folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they will love to hang out with you. So yeah, so that was very interesting, and I can't wait to see this video. And yeah, maybe sometime later we can check back with you how this whole process of delegation went for you. I think
Yeah.
that's also a really interesting topic. And
Yeah, I'd be happy to. By that point I should know a little bit more about how that works and
yeah,
what sort of what are the pitfalls and what are the things that work and what are the things that don't work. You
yeah, and
know,
I think that
so
that balance of I have to let go of my baby a bit, but then it can grow. It's like being a
yes.
parent. So the analogy
It
does fit.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah. It really is. But
yeah,
like I said, that's why there are people who are really good at this and this is what they do and
yeah.
you know, you have to I mean, sure, it's my house, but I'm not going to fix my own plumbing. I know I would make it worse, you know? Why am I not doing this with my
Yeah,
channel? Of course, I could try this with my channel. Try things and
absolutely.
experiment, see what works and what doesn't.
Okay. So thank you so very much, Christian, and thank you everyone in the chat. And if you're watching in the replay, let us know that you were here. And we'll be back here next week. And I hope we will see Christian someday in the future back here again too. But that's all for now. Thank you very much and bye.